All right. Okie dokie. Okay. Um, well, great. Well, welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to have those of you who are here in the room with us virtually live right now joining us, and it is a pleasure for anyone who is viewing this after the fact to have you here. I am Gabby Molnick-Majewski. I am the very proud executive director of DC Affordable Law Firm, and we are thrilled to be introducing many of you or sharing details about our one of a kind decalf signature LLM fellowship program, which we run in conjunction with Georgetown University Law Center and is open to students and graduates of Georgetown University Law Center and the University of the District of Columbia, David A. Clark School of Law. I would love to invite my peers in the space, my decalf colleagues, current and former, as well as our wonderful fellowship training director, Mara DeMoy.
Oh, did she
It,
freeze again?
she froze for me, yeah. Maybe we'll just pop around and introduce ourselves. Um, yeah. I
Oh, there you are, Mara.
yeah, you froze for us. I'm not sure what happened
Oh
there, Gabby.
no. And you froze for me, so go figure.
We were just going to pop around and introduce ourselves, but is that okay or okay?
Yes, that's exactly what I had hoped was happening. Sorry about that.
No worries. I am Maura Demoy. I am very proud to be DeKalb's LLM training director. So that means when you start at DeKalb, you'll spend a really intense 5 weeks with me and others on the DeKalb team and other wonderful practicing lawyers in the DC area and other faculty doing lots of training in family law. I guess I'm just supposed to be introducing myself very quickly. I'm also, for my day job, an assistant dean for experiential education at Georgetown Law. And I'll pop it over to Tone uh, next.
Sure. My name's Tone Earl. I was class of 22, I guess if you think about the graduation year. Started in 21 at DeKalb in the family law and probate kind of unit at that time. And so now I am in my, I guess, fourth year of practicing. I still practice family law. It's stuck with me, but I did dabble in a few different areas before I finally gave in to the pull of family law has on me. So that is me. And I guess if we're doing popcorn, I'll pass it off to Shelby.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Shelby. I was a fellow with Tone in the 2021-2022 class. I was in our family law and immigration practice areas, and I actually am still at DeKalb. Just had my 4-year anniversary, and I am still in our family law and immigration practices. So obviously, I really enjoyed this work and the opportunities that the fellowship gave me to learn more and increase my skills. Um, yeah, I can talk more about things later, but I think that's what I'll leave it with.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I'll pass it off to Lean.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lean. I'm a current fellow. I do immigration and family law at DeKalb, and I represent the most recent experience of what it is to be a DeKalb fellow. So,
Yes, indeed you do. Okay, perfect. So we're going to kick it off by I will share with you a decalf, as we are commonly known. We just had our 10th anniversary as an organization. This is our 10th anniversary year. This is our 10th class of fellows. So we will be inviting in our 11th class of fellows. And we'd like to kick this off by sharing with you a video that you may have seen before. It's posted on our website, and we've shared it through social media, but it's a really nice encapsulation of decalf and this opportunity. So with that, I'm going to screen share, and then we'll talk on the back end. One moment.
too much for free legal services. And so it was the first low bono law firm. And then second, to create a kind of residency for lawyers interested in public interest careers.
At DC Affordable Law Firm, we envision a city where economic inequities are never a barrier to legal representation. No one is left to navigate high-stakes legal matters alone, and every person has the safety, security, and stability they need to prosper. DC Affordable Law Firm bridges the gaps in DC's civil justice system. We break down barriers to justice, deliver transformative legal services that empower DC residents to thrive, and cultivate the next generation of public interest attorneys to build a more equitable future.
When you're at DeKalb straight out of law school, you are retaining clients, you are representing them, you are in court, you are negotiating, you are in the community, you're in depositions, you're working with law firm attorneys, pro bono attorneys, other fellows, and you're really just getting a foundational idea of the family law landscape in the District of Columbia.
As a fellowship opportunity, you really do get the whole package of like life after law school. You get this opportunity to work as a fellow while simultaneously getting your LL.M from Georgetown Law. Not only do you leave here with having done the work of advocacy and immigration and probate law and family law, but you are really being set up to be a social justice warrior.
In partnership with Georgetown University Law Center and the University of the District of Columbia David A. Clark School of Law, DeKalb's award-winning fellowship program equips recent law graduates with hands-on litigation experience, essential lawyering skills, and invaluable mentorship from veteran attorneys to launch successful careers in public interest law.
The opportunity for UDC law students to train walking hand in hand with Georgetown Law graduates as they march toward an LL.M degree, and to get practical training together is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for some of our graduates.
The work we do is difficult work. We see people who are going through pretty serious traumas, but the ability to work with them and kind of like stand with them and collaborate with them through this difficult process is why I love this work.
My team did an excellent job, and I could not have done it on my own. Once you become a part of the DC Affordable Law Firm, you're always family, and they did a tremendous job on my case. Without them, DC would be without affordable lawyers to those who deserve it.
10 years in, what it has done is just astonishing. Having a DeKalb lawyer has changed lives, and being a DeKalb lawyer has solidified a generation's dedication to public interest law. DeKalb is a vibrant, sustainable organization deeply embedded in DC's legal landscape. It has become the gold standard for legal fellowships and a recognized leader in delivering impactful, community-centered legal services.
We now proudly deliver services to 99% of our clients for free, so that the families we serve can keep and grow resources to help meet other life demands like childcare, housing, and student loans. Since 2015, DeKalb has spurred the careers of over 60 public interest attorneys and transformed thousands of lives through the direct legal services delivered by DeKalb's fellows during their fellowship and beyond. Over 72% of DeKalb fellows continue in careers in public interest law, public service, or practice areas learned at DeKalb, with higher percentages of our alumni remaining in public interest year after year. With each fellow, DeKalb's impact multiplies as our alumni continue expanding and serving communities in DC and across the region. DeKalb's reach continues to grow exponentially, transforming the lives of more community members with each passing year.
The future of public interest law is brighter because DeKalb lawyers are in it. Their work has changed lives, and the impact of their service will continue to ripple across the District of Columbia.
Their journey, and I would just say to anyone, support this work. It's a jam-packed message to say that you're supporting DeKalb, because you're supporting so many things that go out in the world and have such positive externalities on everything they touch, right? And that doesn't end at the end of the fellowship. That goes into the work I'm doing, the work my colleagues are doing, other fellows, our clients that are now giving back. We have one client who started her own nonprofit after the family law case we worked on for mothers. I mean, you're seeing this reach just extend so far, and it's just becoming this huge web with all decaf at the center, and I think that's really beautiful.
Okay. So I think that sums up decaf in a really nice nutshell. We could probably end it here, but we won't because we want to answer your questions and offer more about the experiences of what it's like to be a decal fellow. So what I'd like to do, we can talk logistics of the programs and the applications on the back end. But what I'd like to do is just make this a bit of a conversation so you can both ask questions. We invite all of you who are considering applying to DECALF or just eager to learn more to unmute, pop questions into the chat. We're monitoring both. We'll save some space at the end for questions. But I'd like to start by inviting in and asking Tone and Shelby and Lean to just share a little bit about the experience of being a DECALF fellow. So we could start with kind of what did you come to DECALF wanting to do? How did the DECALF experience shape your early legal career?
Yeah, so I'll go. Honestly, I was the type of law student who had no clue what she wanted to do and was introduced to this amazing opportunity that was DECALF, and was like, well, it sounds amazing. Why not? And so got into family law and estate planning, and it just kind of fit, especially the aspect of helping people. I'd never got the opportunity to go into private work prior to going to DECALF. So this was the first kind of practice area I was introduced to. And so when I finally got the opportunity to go into private work, I was like, oh, this sucks. Like, I need to be helping people. I need to be having a purpose for why I'm practicing law. And so like the video was saying, I think it's amazing that we do often tend to stay in, nonprofit public service type of work because it's just so rewarding, the type of clients that come to DECALF, and the fact that you are just kind of thrusted into the work. A lot of people, my husband, for instance, he started at OAG, and it took him a while to get into a space where he was actually doing something he enjoyed. By the first month, I'm like, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to trial. What's happening? You trust me with this? So it was just a really rewarding experience overall to be able to find family law and estate planning to be something that I actually enjoyed. You're muted.
Of course. That's wonderful, Tone. And you've had such a breadth of experiences ever since. And to see you sitting around and talking with us during your fellowship and to be with us today is a real testament to the way in which this has helped launch your career and the extraordinarily space you've built for yourself ever since. Lean or Shelby, do you want to jump in and just share a bit about what you came here wanting to do, and how that's shaped where you are today?
Yeah, and so a little bit unlike Tanae, I came to DECAL really knowing I wanted to do immigration law. That's what I kind of focused on in law school, even prior to law school, very much into like human rights and very interested in issues of migration. So I kind of came knowing like I want to do immigration, and I was sort of like, I don't care if I do anything else. I just want to practice immigration. And it as a fellow, you're not going to just practice one practice area. You're going to get some experience with something else, which I actually think has been an incredible experience because sort of when you're dialed in on one thing, you've got like blinders on, and maybe aren't considering that there are other areas of law and practice that you would be really interested in. And while family law was not, if you had asked me coming out of law school, like, do you want to be a family law attorney? I probably would have laughed at you and said, like, absolutely not, no, thank you. But I've now been practicing family law for 4 years, and I really enjoy it. I get a deep sense of satisfaction out of helping people with I think what are some of the most central issues to your life? I mean, the custody of your children, the state of if you have to go through a divorce, I mean, you want to make sure that you are, protecting yourself and protecting your interests and helping someone walk through what is one of the most challenging issues in and maybe most traumatizing things in their life. So, it's wonderful, like Tone said, getting to walk with our clients through these really tough times. And I don't think I could work in private practice. I think once you are kind of in this environment where you really see the way you're able to touch people's lives, it's incredible. And you again, you might not know what you want to do. You might think you know what you want to do, but in any case, this will open your eyes to other areas of practice and maybe help you even discern what maybe you don't want to do and what isn't for you. Um, but even if you come to DeKalb, you're going to practice in multiple areas of law, which will give you an idea of what you do like and don't like. And you're going to build skills. So I feel like I've gotten the opportunity because I've practiced in two areas of law to build such different skill sets that I could take really into multiple other areas of law if I wanted to branch out. Like I have so many skills that would still serve me well. Just basic attorneying, advocacy, oral advocacy, litigation skills. Like you're going to build such foundational skill sets regardless of what practice area you're doing.
Shelby, that was wonderful. And I think there's also those spaces of intersection between the practice areas that you've gotten to experience as well. Lean, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, for sure. And so in law school, I was a little bit all over the place, wanted to try a bunch of different things. And what really kind of attracted me to DeKalb was the idea that I could take on my own cases and like really dive in and get some experience in diverse areas of law, but also have someone have my back in the sense that, it is very much designed as a training fellowship. It's designed with a lot of like you work with your supervisors and they make sure that there's I think any first time attorney is going to have a little bit of uncertainty about like, oh, did I actually read the law right? Like, is this the best argument I can make for my client? Is there something I'm missing? And that has definitely like been like DCAP has fulfilled and exceeded my expectations in that sense because I've really been like I've really felt like the team that like the representation that we provide to our clients has been really helpful to them, and it's been really rewarding to see that. And it's also nice just compared to internships and like when you're in law school and you don't have your cases on your own. When I have my own cases, I know them better than even my supervisors. They have other people to supervise, so I know my cases better than my supervisors. And I'm very much like the strategic cases and the research you're doing and the ideas you're bringing to the table. It's challenging beyond any other any like obviously any pre-law school experience. And so it's been really fun to kind of just experience that. Our clients are great. I've really loved all our clients, yeah, and I've also it's been really good to get some experience just arguing. Like I also in law school was like, do I want to be a policy lawyer? And so decalf was a really good way for me to get that litigation, to kind of make that pivot. And I've actually really enjoyed the litigation aspects of it. And even now I'm at the end of my fellowship, I'm applying to new jobs, and even just like writing cover letters, like it was like really hard to like make a case for myself as a lawyer before. And now that I have decalf under my belt, I'm finding it easier just to just like make a case for myself as like, please, I will be a lawyer. I can be a lawyer. So it's been a really great launching space.
And you're a great lawyer, Elaine, so don't sell yourself short. But I think that's right. And I loved hearing you talk a little bit about the clients and how meaningful it is for you to be able to walk alongside clients, and how it can be very fulfilling to see their journeys and how they continue to progress through. Because certainly, while this is a fellowship program and we are deeply invested in the professional development of our fellows, we are here for our clients. We are so proud as an organization. On average, typically we serve about 500 clients a year. This year, the need has been through the roof, and we have almost served over 700 clients this year. So it's a really amazing thing for us to be able to do as a small but mighty 30-person team, and the fellows are really doing the work and practicing in all of these most essential spaces and places. I want to walk us through kind of and please feel free to just chime in with questions you may have, because we want to make sure this is responsive to your interests. But I'd love to kind of walk through the average day in a life of a decal fellow. And maybe what we can do is start that off with the start of our fellowship training program. Because our program starts in August, at the end of August every year. And the first 8 weeks are immersive simulation based training and experience. So, Mara, maybe I can invite you in to talk a little bit about that and your unique role in our program.
Yes. So my day job, I'm at Georgetown Law, but I am also an important part of the DeKalb team, welcoming a new class of fellows every year in late August. You'll graduate from law school, take the bar exam in July, and I hope take a little break for a little bit. But before too long, it'll be time that last week or so of August to join us for the training program. And this is something we've done since the beginning, but something we've really refined and honed and improved and enhanced. How many different words can I use? I just am really knocked out that I get to teach this wonderful curriculum, because it's clearly been just really thought through. It's very intentional, and it focuses not just on substantive law, but also on a lot of the basic skills that you'll need as first time early stage attorneys. And so the first 5 weeks, all 8 fellows will focus on family law and basic litigation and trial skills, and even some additional things that every lawyer will use, client interviewing, client counseling. That's really what we do all the time, more than anything else, more than going to trial, more than deposing others. And it's really talking with our clients, thinking about how whatever the unique set of facts they're bringing to us intersect with what we know the law is, but also what we know or think might be possible, depending on many other factors. So we'll spend that time together the first 5 weeks, focused on family law, focused on our training and skills. And after the 5 weeks, the group splits. You heard each person who has been a fellow mention, oh, I'm doing family and probate law, or I'm doing family and immigration, and it's very common for the fellows to work in more than one area of the law. And so after spending that first 5 weeks getting grounded with family law and the skills training, you'll either move forward in a group that focuses on immigration law or a group that focuses on probate and estate. I'm falling in love. I'm relatively new as the LL.M training director, but I'm falling in love with all the practice areas. I don't know how anyone chooses, but you get to do really incredible client-centered work in whatever area you focus on. And so right now we are just past the split. We're about 6 or 7 weeks in, and we've got a group that's focused on immigration, another group that's focusing on probate and estate. And when we come to the end of week 8, that's when everyone will start connecting with the practicing DeKalb lawyers, getting to know, your first cases, first client matters, and really starting to apply everything we've been learning in the first 8 weeks. But to my knowledge, this is the only fellowship in the country where you get this amazing on-ramp, if you will, of training and a lot of focused attention and feedback before you actually start practicing. So it's a really unique, special aspect of the program. And once you finish all 15 months of the fellowship, of course, you will have earned an LL.M degree, which is a wonderful thing to have. and a wonderful thing to, both because of all you'll learn and all the skills you'll develop, but also just as a, wonderful credential that others will know that you had this experience and did all the work to finish this post JD degree. Is there anything else you could think that you'd like me to touch on, or
I
that was
think that
just
was
a high
amazing.
level
And
overview?
I think that was amazing, Mara, and certainly we can, our participants can ask more questions. I would
Yeah.
love to hear from all of our fellows and alums. How was that experience then? So you go through these training weeks and then you march right into practice. And so talk about kind of that transition from having been a student in law school and in this learning environment in the early weeks of training. And then what does it look like once you move into practice? Just what's a day in the life?
I could start maybe backwards.
Go for it, Lane.
I so for me, I think the 8 weeks training was like a really like the really ideal transition from law school into practice, because it felt a little bit like law school in the sense that we were still like talking on a theoretical basis. We did some simulations and we were getting like some theory based classes, but we were also getting more practical training sessions. But like without all the like stress of law school of like showing, without all the like, let me just like, it was just purely, we were there to learn and to get better and to ask questions. My fellow class is excellent. I like really, really am grateful to DeKalb for hiring such great co-fellows, because I really just, it was such a great community where we were helping each other, really building that relationship for the rest of the fellowship, where now like we do pop into each other's offices and ask each other questions all the time. So, and then so even, and it was also really great. So for me, I didn't actually have a ton of background. I had done a little bit of like asylum pro bono stuff, but I had like not, I didn't have much family law or immigration background. And so it was like a condensed like, basically 101 of both of these areas of laws to really kind of equip me to go in. So it really eased the transition for me between law school and practicing attorney, because by the time we were in November and like I was like itching to start. I was like, give me some cases, like put me in, coach. So that was it was really good. Yeah.
Shelby and Tanae, anything you want to add or expound upon there, or different experiences you had?
Note that the training when Tanae and I went through it, I think it was 12 weeks at that point, and it felt kind of long, which we did express, and DeKalb leadership really took that on board and said, okay, how do we make this a little bit better? We were trained in all three practice areas. Now I think the fellows are just getting the two that they're practicing in and not the third, which is great to see over time. Like I've been able to kind of see how things have developed, and that decalf really does, you'll have opportunities to give feedback and it is taken on board and things are adjusted. But also the training also felt, it's a lot, and you're just out of law school, out of bar prep, and your brain is a little bit tired. I felt that anyway. But it's not like once those training weeks are done, like that's it, you're on your own. The training does continue throughout the fellowship as well. So there are continuing opportunities to revisit some of these topics and continue learning and absorbing the material, which I found the most helpful, because once I had my cases and I had like, okay, these are the things I'm working on, this is what's important, this is what I need, this is what I, need to get better at or need to understand a little bit more. Those additional training opportunities, that was really when I was like, things were like really locking together. So it's not it continues throughout as well. So, and that I think was the most valuable piece, is like you have dedicated time, and as attorneys we always have to continue learning, and it's a continual lifelong process of keeping up with how things change, but having dedicated time, like okay, we're going to revisit evidence again and talk about that. And you're like, great, I've got a trial coming up. I needed to revisit this. And that's so helpful to have that kind of carved out, that learning time carved out for you.
I'm going to answer a quick question from Maurice that was in the chat. So Maurice asked, I do have a question regarding the 8-week training. You mentioned immigration and estate planning and probate. When will we receive the family law training? And so, really, the way the fellowship kicks off is the first 5 weeks, about 5 weeks, are centered in family law and litigation and general lawyering skills around client counseling, engaging in trauma informed lawyering, and really learning about the skills of being a lawyer and the fundamentals of family law. And the way that we structure it is that all fellows are engaging in that first 5 weeks of the family law before the split into immigration and probate and estate planning. It's a very good question. And another piece that I think is often a source of confusion is that after the training, as Shelby noted, training is kind of infused into what we do at DCALF. But the earning of the LLM comes through the practice of law at DCALF and participating in those ongoing trainings, some of which are hosted by Amara or colleagues and folks that she will bring in to take on that work. And then we have a full cadre of trainings that we do in-house at DCALF and bring in other people, all of which is kind of complemented with case rounds and practice specific case rounds. So there is a lot of engagement kind of across the fellowship, but there's no added component of going to class at Georgetown. It's really done through the training program, some of which does involve going on campus to Georgetown, but most of what we do is really here and in-house. Okay. Oh, Maurice, did you wanna share?
No, I just
more?
said thank you.
Okay, great. Happy to help. Perfect. So, you touched a little bit. I think, Lean, you touched on kind of not being like out on your own and trying to figure out what it's like to be a lawyer. I'd love to hear just a little bit about kind of the supervision and the mentorship people receive during the fellowship.
Shall I go again?
Go for it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so it's been, so especially because like most fellows do work in different practice areas, you work with different supervisors, and I'm now working with like 3 different people, including Shelby. So that's actually it gets it does sometimes clog up your calendar a little bit to have like so many kind of check-in bases, but it's really helpful to have in beginning. I found it really helpful in your beginning of your career to work with different people and to kind of get different styles and get different ideas, because like experienced attorneys are all going to have different ideas, and so that I've kind of enjoyed that opportunity to work with different people. And so it's and I would say also over the year, like you kind of gain more independence. Like in the beginning, our supervisors were on the calls with us just to like correct us if we say the blatantly wrong thing, right? Which didn't, we get good training. So, but they're there, like I said, as backup. But over time, like definitely like at this point, like most of the calls I take are completely like I do on my own. And also, yeah, so as you kind of build experience, it becomes more of a thing where and also I would say my check-ins go down in time. My scheduled check-ins becomes less of a like, I have to report back on everything, and it becomes more of a like, oh, as we run into questions, let me send this message, let me send this email, let me like jump on the phone with this person, because our supervisors are there as resources when we need to chat with someone who has more experience in an issue. And yes, so that'll be what I say.
That was great. Tone, go ahead.
I mean, it's been so long, but I'll say your supervisors are also working. And so to Lean's point about how her time kind of wind down, I think that's because at a certain point, your supervisors are kind of expecting you to be able to come with them with the problem and the solution. And so I do think that, I guess my advice would be, as you, in those moments where you are having longer and more frequent check-ins, really utilize that time as a learning experience. And just kind of piggyback off of Shelby, the trainings are very, for lack of a better term, they're kind of exhausting, because you are coming off of bar graduation, and then you're taking in all this information. And don't feel bad if you're not getting it all right there, because that's kind of what the check-ins are for, is like, let's follow up. Remember this document you saw, remember this, exercise we did. And so really kind of soak it in each day as you get, without overwhelming yourself, because as you go on, not only will supervision, be a little less, overwhelming, but it's because you're learning, right? It's because you're taking it in, and now you have the answers. Now you know how to deal with an order protection. Now you know how to deal with the probate issue. And so you're really just going and you're chatting with your supervisor like, yeah, you taught me pretty well. And so it really does kind of get easier, better, more rewarding and challenging the more you soak in, and the more you really go into the program.
Can I just add one thing
Go
too?
for it.
So I was so nervous to start working as an attorney and just felt an immense amount of imposter syndrome. Like, I don't know anything. What am I doing? And I will say one of, like, I think decal's just values is learning. And we even have like ground rules at every meeting, and one of those is there's no silly questions.
Mm.
And they're truly, I've never asked a question. I mean, I've had questions that I'm like, oh man, they're gonna think I'm so dumb. Like they're gonna wonder how they let me in here, how I got a law degree. I have never been met when I've had questions like that. I've never been met with anything except like an openness and willingness to say, "Oh yeah, let's talk about it. Let's dive in." And it really helped me get over some of that like fear of not knowing and being new, to have an environment that you can truly ask questions and not be judged or looked down on, and where they're glad you're asking questions because that means you're learning and that's going to mean you're a better attorney.
That's really great. No silly questions, and all silly questions are accepted, right? Wonderful. So, no, Tone, as the person here of our group who has kind of ventured on to do multiple things after decalf, um, when you reflect back on the experience, you talked about the diversity of what you've done, but I'd love for you to share a little bit more about kind of what you pull upon, how you're reflecting on things so many years out from your fellowship.
Yeah. I mean, my what I've learned from decalf is I take it with me with every job. And as I say that because I have had a lot of jobs after decalf, and just trying to figure out what I like, where I want to be. I started law school a little bit later in life. And so I'm kind of in that space where I won't stick around for long if I don't feel challenged, or if I don't feel, like this is a space for me. And so I've gone into private practice. I dabbled in personal injury law, dabbled in being like a hearing examiner. And now I am back at legal aid in Arizona. My husband and I, we moved here last year because he got a job as an AUSA out here. And so we are making it work. But I will say, like, going into the legal aid position as a staff attorney in the domestic relations unit here in Arizona, and having to learn the laws of Arizona, but taking on how I approached the cases in decalf, the fact that you guys kind of threw us in and gave us the confidence to really take on these cases. I mean, me and Michelle were doing trial, like, I'd say maybe like a month or 2 months after the training, and we were like, okay, like this is it. Like, we really get to show like what we've learned from law school, what we learned from the training, to just take that confidence and go to Arizona, where I've never practiced law before. When I did my interview, I had to look back at like, oh yeah, at decalf I've done this. I've done appellate work at decalf. I was using my writing assignments, or not assignments, but written material from decalf for a while because you really got a lot of good stuff out of it. And so I would say, just ultimately, the confidence that decalf gave me is something I have to this day. The ability to really walk in and kind of, fake it till you make it, and make it work for you, but still having the knowledge, the ability to go to the statute. When I tell you, like, Samuel Wilkins, who was also in the video, just my favorite person, next to Gabby and Shelby at decal. And Mara, I'm so sorry, I don't know you, but I'm sure you would be my favorite person. But the supervision you get from Samuel is just, it's breathtaking, because he sometimes I feel like I hear Samuel when I'm doing work, because he will make you come up with the answer. And sometimes he'll give you the answer, but he will make you figure out the question you've asked. And I love I love that, because now when I'm doing my own work, I'm walking through a process of how do I get through this. And so, I mean, everything I do today, I am grateful and thankful to Decal for training me up and giving me confidence, giving me skills to understand law and to go forward in court and to have rapport with clients. That was another thing. I remember Sarah Atone and us being in a client case, and the client was kind of going off a little bit, had some mental health issues, and Sarah handled it like a boss. And had I have not seen that, I don't know that I would have been able to handle some clients that I've gotten later on to handle like a boss. So yeah, Decal, you will be surprised at all the experiences you have, but you will not forget a single one, because they are definitely ingrained in my memory, and they're something I take with me as I go through the process of handling my own family law cases.
That was wonderful. Okay, I am going to, we're going to walk through just some quick logistics, and then I will actually stop recording. So for the folks in the space, you should feel comfortable asking any questions that you may not want preserved in perpetuity. So with that, our application cycle is open now. We will also be posting, right now you can see on the website, I've shared a few links in the chat. On DCALF's website, on the employment tab down at the bottom, the posting is listed for the fellowship opportunity for those folks who will be graduating from law school in May of 2026. With the program starting in the fall of 2026. We also have at least one, but a slim number of opportunities for folks who are postgraduate and 1 to 3 years out. These are great, ideal opportunities for someone who has been in legal services, who has been in a clerkship, or other areas there. That posting is not yet up on the website, but will be up there soon. That is more of a rolling basis, though we will be looking at applications for that opportunity as they come in, as our goal is to really fill out our class and move the process forward so that we folks know if this is the opportunity for them, that they are kind of concluding the semester with that knowledge that they will be joining DCALF the following fall. But the application process is open, so for folks who are graduating in May, the applications will be accepted until the end of October, so the 31st, right before midnight. Please get those in and submitted. The instructions are on the job posting itself. So for folks who are at Georgetown Law, you will submit through Simplicity. For folks who are at UDC Law, you will actually send all the same materials, but send it directly to Mara, who will aggregate those materials directly. Samantha, I saw you coming off mute. If you'd like to ask a question now, you certainly can.
Yeah, I do have a question kind of like in relation to the application process. Outside of like
Sure.
academic credentials, what are things that the fellowship program looks for in their ideal candidates?
That is a great question. And I think Mara may have a different answer than me, and certainly, but we really look at folks who have a passion for this work, who want to become public interest attorneys and like really scratch those itches. And even if you're not entirely certain that that's what you want to do, that there is a commitment to community, there's a commitment to the clients that we serve, and interest in the areas in which we practice is always a plus, but certainly not a requirement. Lean, as you noted, you were not deeply familiar with any of the areas of practice here. It's great when folks are coming with clinical experience and having kind of gotten an opportunity in a law school environment to start to test some of those skills. But we want people who are sharp, who are smart, who are motivated, and who can really speak to why they want to be part of this opportunity and what they will bring to the clients that we serve. We want to understand how your legal mind works, and really what motivates you, and how you would approach this work in a very real, fluid environment where we are very responsive to the needs of our clients.
Thank
And
you.
great writing is a must too.
I don't know how to improve on that, Gabby, but just having spent these weeks working so closely with the fellows, I am struck. They're all different. They all come from different experiences, different lived experience, different academic experiences. Um, but they are all really interesting, sincere, committed people who have are really motivated to work with the clients that they will work with at DCALF. And so I think it's an orientation towards service, community, we're hearing from Tony and Shelby and Lean how much it means to them personally to work with DCALF's clients, and that's what makes the work what it is for them. So I think if you're hearing that and saying that's me, then you're a great advocate for this fellowship. It really is. It's almost the applicants. The fellowship seeks out the applicants, but the right applicants come to us as well somehow.
That was a
And
great answer.
can I say one thing, Gabby?
Go ahead, Tony.
I just want to say that if you are expecting an easy time, this probably isn't the fellowship for you. It is a very intensive fellowship. You will be working. You're going to be working a lot. And if you're used to your 8-hour days, 5 days a week, and that's what you're hoping for, that's not necessarily something you will never get. I'm sure there will be some weeks where you will have, less things to do, and it may not be as stressful. But DCALF is a firm. It is a law firm, and you will be an entire, not just a fellow. You're going to eventually be an associate, and so you can think big law as much. And I would kind of encourage you to think big law, because you are putting in the hours, you're putting in the time, you are learning something very new. You may have taken law, family law, or probate, or wills and estates in law school, but this is different. This is real people. And so if you kind of have this expectation that it's going to be a cakewalk, I'll tell you right now, it's not. You're going to be you're going to be in for a rude awakening, but it's going to be wonderful, and you're going to meet lovely people. You're going to love your cohort. You're going to love your professors. You're going to love all of that. But it is going to be very hardworking, very challenging, and so if you're applying, it's because you are ready and willing to put the work and the time in, so that you can be a part of the great name that DCALF is. Because when I tell you it was built from the ground up, we got some fellows who are part of the process of the continual building of it. And that's what makes it such a rewarding experience. You become a part of the DCALF family. And I have never heard a negative thing said about DCALF. So I'm kind of saying, if you got a problem with DCALF, you got a problem with me. But I'm just going to put it out there. It's a very rewarding experience.
Amazing. Amazing. Yes, that was fantastic. And that's true, right? We work hard because we want to bring the best representation forward for our clients, because no matter someone's income, we at our core believe that everyone deserves high quality representation. And for many of the people we serve, we may be their only option to secure a lawyer and to work with a lawyer. And so it is a big deal for us to bring forth the high quality work that people deserve, that income shouldn't be a determinant as to whether you get a good lawyer or not, or any lawyer at all. And so we we do work hard, and we try and create the space and atmosphere, and flexibility that enables people to still have full lives outside of the fellowship, for sure. But that, this is not going to be a cakewalk opportunity, because at the end of the day, it's about our clients and them getting the support that they need. And no case is exactly the same, because no person and their needs are exactly the same.
And I just want to add it. You'll find that it's it's really a lot easier to work hard for our clients because you're going to feel so invested in them, in their case, and helping them achieve their goals that I have a lot of friends in Big Law that they work extremely hard, but I feel like they find it hard, like it's hard to find motivation for them sometimes. Whereas I am tired and I'm like, man, I've put in a lot of hours this week, but it's very easy to find motivation when you really believe in what you're doing. So even when you're working that hard, I think it's not as hard to do that when you have decaf clients.
That was beautiful. Okay. So take a look. I shared in the chat a number of resources and opportunities to learn more. Certainly, Mara's extended herself as a resource, as has Wayne here and Jen Bro over with the Office of Career and Professional Development on the UDC side, on the Georgetown side. Not only is Mara also available to folks from both schools, but the OPICS office as well. Maurice, an additional question?
Yes, I did have a question. It's a two-part question.
Go for it.
One, how soon after applications are submitted are interviews conducted? And then two, um, are the interviews a panel interview? Are there sequential interviews where you be meeting with different um, leaders, back to back? Like, how does that process work?
That is a great question. And so we do not look at any applications for folks who are graduating in May until after the end of the collection cycle. We then go through and have a rubric and process to evaluate all the applications that come through, though we wish we could interview every single person who submits an application. We have a process for doing that. We interview many people, but we have a finite number of spots for the fellowship itself. But we start the interview process around the second or third week of November for folks. It is a panel interview, and that typically we expect that will be kind of the one and only round of interviews. That has been our experience in the past. That's how we have intend to schedule things for this year. But we always like to remain nimble and flexible at DCALF, and so should that change at any point, we will be sure to let folks know. And Mara, I can't tell if you're. Oh no, you're not lifting your hand. It was the chair behind you. Sorry.
No, sorry.
Yes. No. All good. Yes. So that is our process, but our goal is to really be in a place to make decisions around who we are inviting into the fellowship. Certainly by early December, first half of December, before folks go out on break at the end of the semester. So that's our typical time frame. And if anyone has a specific situation where that does not work for their needs, we please reach out tomorrow, and we will certainly endeavor to accommodate however we can there.
All right, thank
And this will be my first time. Did you come? Maybe I missed it. We will interview those selected for an interview. We interview as a group. So it would be Gabby, myself, and Lauren Harriman, who you haven't met yet, or you might meet soon. Wonderful deputy legal director at DCAL. And so we'll look forward. But you won't have to go through rounds and rounds of interviews if you are selected for an interview, is I guess part of the
And we
question.
will not consider any applications that are incomplete or don't respond to the instructions in the posting, because there are many applications that we receive every year. It's very exciting to receive a lot of applications, but we certainly want folks to be mindful of the instructions that we put forth. Other questions, other thoughts about our practice areas, about anything else?
I do have a question. I do see that you all recently started a probate and heirs fellowship, I believe, with Howard.
We
How
did,
does that,
yes.
and congratulations to that. I saw the application window just closed, I believe. But how does that affect applicants that may be interested in estate planning and probate with decaf?
That is a great question. That is a wonderful, unique opportunity. The Open Horizon Decalf Heirs Property and Estate Planning Fellowship is specific for students, graduates of Howard Law, and a particular estate planning and heirs property clinic that they have at Howard. The opportunity for folks to practice in probate and estate planning at DCALF through this fellowship, through our signature LLM fellowship, is certainly still a practice area and an area of need. What we do is we really try to, after folks kind of get the exposure and learn about our practices at DCALF and what does it mean to be an immigration attorney at DCALF, what are the types of cases we take? What does that mean within family law and within probate and estate planning? We go through a process where folks are putting forth kind of their interests and naming what they would like to practice in. We certainly try to give the highest level of credence to that, and marrying that with the needs that we are seeing in the trends in our practice. And so but there will certainly be opportunities for folks in our 26, 27 signature LLM fellowship cohort to be practicing in probate and estate planning. The needs in all of our areas of practice are really profound and ever growing. And so, by virtue of having that fellowship, that they work in conjunction with fellows. That's a new fellowship program, but all fellows work together, and it really does feel seamless. There are distinctions between the programs, but everyone's serving kind of the same clients all together and doing that practice.
Thank you.
And this is worth nothing because it's just 1 year's experience. But I was told you will have a chance to rank your choices and let us know what you're interested in. And we take that very seriously as we're making the decisions about, of course we have to take client need into account, but we're taking your interest into account as we're making those decisions. And I know this year everyone got some piece of their number one choice, as part of their work portfolio.
I did have one last question
Yeah.
if there was still
Go.
some
Yeah,
time.
go ahead.
Just
Yes.
specifically, this seems to be a very intense, very high value work. I just wanted to know what were some issues that maybe other fellows have faced that might be helpful knowing going into it, as well as maybe how they approached handling those difficulties.
And as folks are thinking through the answers that they might offer, what I will say is that though we work hard, we are very mindful of capacities. That's a conversation we're regularly having, both as a firm, within practice areas, for each individual player, both fellows and staff attorneys and supervisors and managers, to really take full stock of that. So, this is not an experience where you're going to walk in the door and finish training and then we say, here are 50 cases you will be inheriting. We really work to make sure that the practice, the volume of clients and cases that you're assigned to are both in different phases, that you have the opportunity to intake new clients, accept new clients, and kind of work on all different phases of cases as they move forward. But I will invite Lean, Shelby, Tonay to share responses to Samantha's specific question about how did you manage it?
I mean, I hate these types of questions. Not they're great questions. They're great questions, but I don't have anything. I never had any issues at Decal. Not to say like the work is hard. The work is hard, and I think the most I heard is like time management can be a big issue you can come into. And I would say how you talk to your supervisor. Talk to your supervisor. Talk to the deputy, and and they will definitely work with you, understanding that this is a professional job, right? Like you wanting, month off to care for your dog is, may not be something you'll get, but talk to them about it, right? Talk to them about it. I think maybe another one is like where people have like dependents and they need that flexibility. Again, talk to your supervisor. I'll say I've never had an issue that my supervisor or anybody at DCAF could not help solve. And so it really just did come down to getting comfortable with your supervisor, letting them see your work, letting them see you're serious about what you do. And so when you need, those personal, that personal time to take care of whatever you might need to take care of, they'll understand that, okay, everybody needs a little bit of a break some here and there.
I think something that was a challenge in particular that I experienced was just, we're talking about our decal clients are wonderful and they're so great, and I think on the whole that is true. Um, but, not every client relationship is perfect or going to be this rosy, fun thing. These are people who are going through what might be the most difficult thing that they've ever faced in their life. You have to counsel them through, options that are sometimes none of them are great. And that's stressful. That can bring out some really difficult emotions and intense feelings. And so I think especially with family law cases, I had and have still had clients that, having those tough conversations can be really, really challenging. Um, a client is going to be upset with you. And they might not be even upset with you, they might be upset with the situation. And Tanae mentioned this earlier, but like seeing other attorneys and how they handle it and how they can kind of move with grace and professionalism through that, to not have a client relationship break down over something, is really, I mean, it's there's an art to it. And so I know that's something I had to learn, and I was very uncomfortable with having clients like unhappy with me or telling them things they don't want to hear. And so learning how to do that in a way that is professional, clear, you don't want to be waffling about things, but to be clear, to be professional, and to really help them work through the emotions and work through that to get to a successful place in their cases. Um, Something that was very challenging, but I learned a lot from my supervisors on how to handle that. But I will also say I've had client relationships that have broken down in ways that are kind of, irreparable. And that does happen. And sometimes you do have to be able to draw a boundary and say, we can't assist this person anymore. And that's a very challenging situation to be in, especially when you've invested so much into someone's case. And learning, what that boundary looks like and how to draw that boundary is also a really important step, but one that is not comfortable or easy to do.
And you would never be doing any of those alone in a
No,
fellowship, for
always,
sure.
always with your supervisor, you're making and leadership, you're making those decisions, but you're not right. You're not alone when you're in those situations. You do have people who can help guide you and help you understand how to navigate it.
And I guess just to add my 2 cents, I do think that like also as decaf maybe has grown and created more structures, I do think that we've had pretty good like if you have an intense couple of weeks, like we have pretty good structures in place that you can get an extra like recuperation day and you can like and so well, yeah, and also just we do a lot of consults, people coming in, and we just an initial 1 to 2 hour consultation, seeing if we can help them, if there is a relief option available, or what we can do. And sometimes you meet a client in a consult and you're like, oof, I would love to take this case, but like I don't have the capacity for it. And so we do have this whole pool of attorneys, and you can like tell your supervisor, I recommend we take this case, but I don't have capacity. And the DCALF is able to like kind of handle that and like kind of redistribute the load according to like sometimes like I had a case which I thought was going to be a lot of work and then wasn't. So because sometimes things settle, or sometimes like In this case, the client decided to find another lawyer, but it wasn't our fault, I promise. But so like things, so like in that case, you know, I had more capacity than I expected, and so I think there were some other things I was able to take on from other people. So there are like ways of rebalancing.
That's great. Okay. Any last questions brewing for folks? All right, then I will wrap this up by saying thank you to everyone who came out tonight. Thank you to our amazing colleagues and former colleagues for being a part of the decalf community. We talk about Team Decalf all the time because it really is a beautiful organization where the joy is seeing our community come together to serve incredibly wonderful, deserving people in our community, and to see where people continue to go and build upon these experiences to serve other deserving community members in places all across the country and beyond. And so, thank you for coming out. Thank you for your interest in learning more about this opportunity. Please don't keep it a secret. We certainly want many folks to who are interested and deeply passionate about this opportunity to go ahead and take advantage. So October 31st, please submit your applications and reach out to the contacts on the job posting with any questions you may have. And thank you again for coming out and making time and space this evening. Take good care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank
you.
you.
Bye.